China is proposing changes to its existing regulations for permanent residents. The Ministry of Justice published the draft online last Thursday to solicit public opinions. The reaction has been strong and mixed. Some call it a sign of China's greater openness. Others aren't so happy, saying the new rules lower drastically the threshold for immigrants, for instance, bringing competition for Chinese nationals among a host of other issues. What triggered the fears? Are they well-founded? Joining me in Beijing via the phone is Professor Wang HUIYAO, President of the Center for China and Globalization, and Mario CAVOLO, author and CEO of M Communications Group, joining me from Shenyang. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. So the new regulation are supposed to be called the Administrative Measures for the Examination and Approval of Foreigners' Permanent Residence in China. And I want to go to Professor Wang HUIYAO first, because you can help us understand the background of this story. Originally, China has this green card system, but it's very difficult to get it. I understand from 2004 to 2013, only 7,000 foreigners got green cards from China, on average 1,000 persons a year. That is a very small number compared to the United States, for instance, which grants about 1 million such titles on an annual basis. So why the rules are being changed now, Professor Wang?
Yes. Thank you, Liu Xin. As a matter of fact, actually, you're right. 2004, China has launched the green card system, but from 2004 to 2013, is only 7,000 has been issued and is claimed as one of the most difficult green cards to get in China. So from then on, actually, China has greatly changed. I mean, you can see China has a great movement of the goods, great movement of the capital. So the time of the movement of the talent is coming. But actually, right now, the global talent in China is very small. We have about probably 250,000 degree students from overseas, according to the Ministry of Education, and we have about another 500,000 work permit related staff in China. So it's less than 1 million, very small. But I think, but what's more is that China has greatly developed. China now needs more talent in the science, innovation, entrepreneurship, R&D, and multinational, all kind of the Belt and Road, you name it. All sectors are needed. So I think now it's time that China needs to consolidate what has already been promoted and also update on that.
Yeah. Will there be some kind of expectation of a number? For instance, right now it's about 1,000. Professor Wang, can you give us an idea? Is there some kind of target annual numbers that the that the legislators are looking behind this regulation?
I think the number is very small. Actually, since the National Administration of Immigration established, the first 2 months they have granted about 2,000 something. So now I think China public total is only 20,000, 30,000 of them right now. It's not a big number. And so there will be, the number that will be set by the NIA, National Immigration Administration. So there's no specific number yet.
Yeah. All right. Mario, let me go to you. You have lived in China for over 10 years, I understand. By the way, do you have a green card? How difficult is it for foreign national living in China to apply? And how do you look at the introduction of the new regulations?
Liu Xin, I look at the introduction of the new regulations on the positive side, which is to be moving forward as a country that is part of the global world. Look at the many, many ways that China is both investing all across the world through Belt and Road Initiative and opening up to other countries. And of course, that's going the other way. I've been here for in fact, 21 years this year, which is really something. And so I've seen all of the changes. Yeah, and so the thought that I just had while you were speaking with Mr. Wang, we were just listening to Mr. Wang just now, was that we now have a new initiative that started this past year where the Chinese government said, look at the amazing development we've accomplished for the last 20 years, and what's the next step after the focus on Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and now we've said we're going to bring the rest of these cities of the country, the list of the second-tier cities, up to the first-tier level. Do we realize the enormous scale of this? Even if we were to bring in 100,000 new talents with permanent residence that were talented and qualified to help raise up China, even a number of 100,000, as you said, compared to how many America gives out every year. As long as they're qualified, they're here to help China continue to raise up to an enormous scale.
I think it is a consensus that the threshold should be lower, that it should be facilitated. More people should be allowed to choose to live in China if they wish to. However, the devil lies in the detail. Let me go to Professor Wang once again and compare the existing version of 2004 and the proposed version. For instance, the decision-making has been delegated from the central government to municipal county governments. People are asking, maybe it is so easy to get one because they will be much less stringent. You know, the way how it could be manipulated probably is also higher. And then the threshold is much lower. For instance, for anybody who wants to immigrate to China, for instance, you don't really have to work for any particular sector. You can work for an ordinary sector, and you can apply for a green card based on working years or income. And then if you have a doctorate degree, that itself can stand on itself as a qualification to apply. And then if you have made contribution to social charity, you can be recognized, or if you get a recommendation by someone who already has a foreign permanent residence, then you can also apply. So, Professor Wang, how do you look at the considerations behind such changes to lower the threshold drastically?
No, actually, I disagree with that. I think the threshold actually was higher than before now. You know, from Article 10 to Article 19 in this new regulations, it was all the standards are upgraded. You know, you have to, the first few standards, you have to be recommended by the provincial, ministerial, and also university level. You have to be at least assistant professor level before you qualify for applying green card. And then also you have to be made a great contribution or be recognized as an outstanding talent. So there's quite a number of articles on that that stipulates much higher standards. Second, that you know, the market conditions, that you have to be 6 times or 7 times salary higher, and then if it has a company or organization to sponsor you. So it's actually not the threshold is not lower. Actually, it's getting higher, I would say. But it's actually more according to the international practice, according to the international standard now. And also for the doctor student, it was saying, you know, some famous world universities, also credible universities, if it's a PhD candidate. So that's much higher than Canada or other countries. You know, other countries, you get an undergrad, you can apply. So I don't think, you know, the standard was higher, and there's quite a bit of professional interpretation goes in that. There's a lot of, I think, you know, the administration should do is really to give all the background of how it is getting this today and what has happened in the past and how to select talent.
Yes. Let me ask you this. If you say the threshold is actually higher. How do you expect more people to be eligible, to be admitted, if you raise the threshold?
Yeah, but you see, it's now China is getting more prosperous. There's more people want to come to China. There's more talent. There's more industry. There's more sectors. There's more match now. There's more jobs, opportunity. So in that sense, China is more mature now from the goods movement to the capital movement. Now it's the time come to the talent movement. So I think that with the second largest economy, we are currently at the lowest level of talent, you know, global talent in China. And also, mind you, half of the green card applicants are overseas Chinese. Actually, they're already originally from China. They just want to come back. So there's a lot of detail that people are not aware of. I understand the concerns. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Mr. CAVOLO, how do you look at the details that are listed? According to some people's observation, the thresholds are lower, but according to Professor Wang, it is actually more difficult so that China can really attract quality talents. What is your observation?
Sure. In fact, I did a comparative analysis this afternoon preparing for the evening. One of the things, I had a conversation with a gentleman who started up a high-tech company, and had gotten his green card for doing that. He talked about Article 15 and the possibility that that was too loose, too easy, too soft. I'm going to suggest that the State Council put this out for public opinion knowing that it was a little soft, and did so to get a little bit of that pushback response as a way of confirming this was the Chinese citizens, the public, the way they solicit public opinion, by the way, is fantastic. And this was the public opinion they were expecting, which now confirmed their suspicion that, yep, let's not make the mistake of lowering the thresholds too much in given areas. China is the future. Many foreign companies and people know that, and we need to attract more talents. Let's expand the permanent residence investment program. Many countries offer it.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about the online response. The online response has really been very strong and very, very mixed. A lot of people pouring out their emotions. For instance, we have this, as I said, some opinion, for instance, this one carried by China Daily, saying the more open and developed a country is, the more opportunities it will provide for foreigners to develop their own careers, and it will also be more likely for foreigners to choose to stay in that country, and the draft rules are undoubtedly a sign of China's greater openness. However, if you look, and I took this part out of a comment which got over 400,000 likes on Weibo, and this comment says in official translation, "I fear those who can speak Chinese will enjoy the supranational treatment in our country." Again, this one, the whole comment got 400,000 likes. Professor Wang, again, I'm going to go to Professor Wang. How founded are such concerns? How do you identify with these concerns? Do you think they are legitimate at all?
Well, I think there are some legitimate concerns. Yeah, absolutely, yes. And the thing is that I think we have to, stress a lot of other rights of the Chinese citizens. I think the whole society needs to grow up and need to catch up. For example, the HUIYAO system that we treat our domestic citizens unfairly, and also the family planning that domestic citizens didn't have a chance to have third baby or more babies, things like that. So now they all have actually probably associated with this now. But as a matter of fact, China has 17 of special economic zones. Those policies are already practiced in those areas, like how many years you have to work there, you're commanded by the employer. If the employer is willing to pay 5 times, 6 times more, they must feel this is a talent useful to them. So it's actually more, higher standardized, and after so many experiments for so many years, now they put it into practice. The more regulations.
Okay,
yes.
We have to leave it there. Yeah, sorry?
We have to solve all the other issues. Have to solve other issues first, altogether, not just this one,
All right.
Chinese citizenship, all the other treatment as well, yes.
It's a very complicated issue, but I hope that the rational opinions, the legitimate opinions will be taken into consideration by lawmakers before they finalize this new regulation. Many thanks to Professor Wang HUIYAO and to Mario CAVOLO for joining us.